Welcome back to Epic Mickey 2 Electric Boogaloo.
This time it's personal.
I mean, it's only Epic Mickey 1, but it's part 2 of Epic Mickey 1.
Oh no.
Oh, dang, Gus has twins.
There are a number of gremlins. At some point, I'm going to have to explain where the gremlins come from, because it's a very interesting story.
It's an entire colony of Jiminy crickets.
Well, we could paint in those gears, but Mickey's feeling a little naughty today. That looks like a new enemy type.
Okay, now are we going for like the bad BioShock ending here? Or?
No, I'm going to be sort of weaving back and forth between the paint and thinner solutions.
Gotcha.
Oh, that seems a shame. Like, I feel like if you're going to go bad, you might as well go full bad.
It's also because the canonical route for Epic Mickey 2 is also a mixture of paint and thinner. You'll see the consequences of that later on. So, we've been seeing a lot of gremlins. In fact, later on, we're going to be seeing the Gremlin Village. Now, there's a very interesting story behind this. You might have heard of this guy. His name is Roald Dahl. Very famous author, mostly of children's books. But his very first children's book in 1943 was called The Gremlins. And he wrote it coinciding with what was at the time going to be an animated feature based on the Gremlins that was canceled. The book came out, though.
What were the gremlins like in that book?
Well, that's the thing. You might notice they have aviator goggles and whatnot. And that's because, in fact, the very concept of a gremlin itself comes from the Royal Air Force. That during World Wars I and II, the airplanes used by air forces were notorious for being complete pieces of shit. And in order to cope with their planes constantly breaking down, something like a 1940s version of a meme developed where they blamed all of their mechanical problems on gremlins that were interfering with the ship.
Are they the same kind of gremlins that steal like one of your socks, but only one of them?
Yeah, they're pretty much. In fact, we as a society would not have the concept of gremlins were it not for the Royal Air Force. So I guess what I'm saying is that you should thank Adolf Hitler for having the Gremlins movie.
Thanks, Hitler.
If it wasn't for him, we'd never have Gremlins.
Have you actually seen the Gremlins movie?
I'm going to have to say no, unfortunately. I'm outing myself as a Gremlins poser.
Phenomenal Christmas horror film.
I'm thinking that's a different kind of gremlins.
And speaking of new monsters, the Spatter is basically the Epic Mickey version of a Goomba. It's the most common enemy type, and very basic. Doesn't take much paint or thinner to take down, and they have a very obvious tell on their main attack, which is just smacking you with a headbutt. And there's an extra cutscene here if you decide to paint them.
Ah, but they love you.
This is the most adorable sewer level ever.
And because we both painted the spatters as well as fixing all the pipes, that means that the Gremlin will unlock a path to some concept art. If we had failed this quest by not patching in the pipes, there's an extra obstacle on the way to the door, and you don't get the concept art.
Ah, so this time doing the good thing was actually the better route.
Yeah, the way this game's morality system works, it basically rewards you going out of your way to help people and take the long way around, and it punishes you for doing something cheap and quick, which usually hurts the people you're trying to save.
I don't know, like, throwing that guy off into the stratosphere did get you those tickets.
It's true.
It also means we can no longer get a collectible, because there's one specific collectible that you get for freeing all of the gremlins in the game. And now we can't get it. Oops.
Oops. So what about this guy? Are we going to catapult him too?
This guy, we have to save him. And in fact, we have to save him because by defeating these enemies, it actually introduces the next layer of the morality system. And that's just a little taste of how bad the camera could get in this game. But don't worry, we'll see much more of that later.
Now, question though. Is it possible, like, to just leave your allies to their own devices? Like, can they actually die while fighting?
Yes. The way it works is that enemy melee will cause enemies to be thinned out. And that includes if they take attacks, that the paint will slowly chip away, and then they'll become hostile if they take too much damage.
Okay, so basically you do have to kind of watch over your buddies so that they don't get turned evil again.
Exactly.
We've attracted a guardian, you say.
Oh no.
And of course,
no.
they introduced the worst feature for the Guardians first.
I have chills whenever I hear hold the Wiimote straight upwards. It never works.
In this game, it's okay. Honestly, most of the trouble I had with motion controls in this game is because the way that my my office and gaming room are set up, it's not very comfortable. I'm gonna have to change that at some point. And because we have primarily used paint in this run, we attracted a tint, which will instantly befriend one enemy when you shake the nunchuck.
Oh, that's cool.
And you would get a terp if you had thinned out the enemies when rescuing Gremlin Tim.
So Navi, but actually useful.
Yeah, if the Guardians are Navi, then Gus is more like, I guess he's more like Midna.
Only with not quite as much personality.
By the way, if you want to have a really boring drinking game, take a shot every time that a text box is exactly one word too long and it has to go onto another text box. That happens a lot in this game.
Oh, hey, it is the teacups.
Yep, the two main rides here, we have the Mad Tea Party over there, but here, this is based on Dumbo the Flying Elephant, which is available, I think, in most of the Disney theme parks.
Yeah, we were joking about this between updates, that one of the rides that we were going to be featuring today was going to be the teacups.
There's also one game, I can't remember, it's a game that came out recently where you play as like an original human character going through the theme parks. What was it called?
Oh, I should know the name of that.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think I remember that one, but I couldn't tell you the name of it. Like, it was basically, yeah, just going to see the various attractions. There wasn't a whole lot to it.
It's also fun to mess with the NPCs and paint them. So our two main options in combat are to either brainwash enemies into becoming our friends, or destroy them with paint thinner. Don't think about it too hard.
So what distinguishes a gremlin wrench from any old regular wrench?
I don't know, but whatever it is, Gus knows the difference. Enough to recognize one on sight.
Oh, we're gonna get Dumbo flying again. That is terrifying.
All these rides seem to look a little off. And yes, there is an in-story reason as to why things look a little creepier than normal.
My question is, who's actually going to care about the rides? Like, it feels like no one else is here.
Oh, there was another one word too long text box.
Take a shot.
I should start a counter for those. Examining the machine. Hey!
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like we are basically the only person at this theme park. So, yeah, seems like there's not much purpose in getting these machines started again, except we need to ride them to get to where we're going to go.
Now, this is the normal path that we would take to open the doors to the next area of the ride. However, there is a shortcut. This is one I discovered myself when I used to speedrun this game. Jump on this and, well, I mean, it's been a while. It took a couple of tries, but I got it in the end.
Woohoo!
It also means that you can do this out of order, and you can do that before having fixed the Dumbo ride. And in case it wasn't obvious, any of the brighter textured items, those are toon, and that's what you can thin out. Anything that's darker, thinner won't work on that.
Everything in this world runs on paint and thinner.
I mean, it is a world that was invented on a tabletop. Like, it's all basically models that have just come to life.
Well, the ones that are still living. Isn't that right, Mickey? What have you done? And I somehow didn't see the very obvious spot to paint in here. It eventually got to the point where I just increased the brightness on my TV, because this game can be pretty dark sometimes.
Yep. Back in that era, everything was trying to be a little bit more realistic, and that usually meant turning the lights down.
Now, neither of you are familiar with the hype cycle that was originally around this game in the mid-late 2000s, because believe it or not, this game was considered a letdown by most people because it wasn't dark enough.
Uh-huh. That I actually do remember.
The long story short is that a lot of the concept art that was leaked a couple of years before this game came out was never intended to be in the game. It was basically the artists doing their best to, like, test the limits of what Disney would accept for a darker Mickey game, and essentially they wanted to get an idea of what they could get away with. And a lot of the stuff that was leaked out was the stuff that was rejected. I mean, this game is already pretty dark.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, they were never going to accept American McGee's Mickey.
Warren Spector's Mickey, on the other hand. Just wait until we get to see all of Mickey's ear augmentations.
My marketability is augmented.
Maybe I should have made that the thread title instead of Deus Ex for Kids. Anyway, let's ride the teacups.
If we don't trade pins with JC Denton before this is all over.
Well, there's no JC Denton. We might be seeing Paul later.
You know, I feel like we should kind of emphasize, like, try to ride the teacups. They're not really cooperating with you.
Just like the real teacups.
Anyway, now that the boats are working, let's head out of here. There's not much else we could do. But, this song sounds familiar. pretty much the entire Gremlin village area is heavily based on It's a Small World. And that includes a rendition of the classic theme song.
Melt it with thinner.
I know the hippos are an important part of It's a Small World, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the significance is. But for those who are not familiar with It's a Small World, it is essentially a celebration of various countries. And there are about a dozen, maybe 24 different countries that all have, for lack of a better word, exhibits on the ride.
All with animatronics.
Yeah.
All very creepy. Yeah.
And the music is just so incredibly saccharine.
Yeah, Disney themselves are well aware about how saccharine this is. There's a famous scene from The Lion King that makes fun of this song. By the way, if we had thinned out the pipes instead of painting in the hippos, that other hippo would have its mouth closed. We would not be able to get the 10 e-tickets inside its mouth.
I'm kind of glad the thinner lake is not an instant kill. That would have been kind of stupid.
It's kind of like lava in 3D Mario games where it'll bounce you around and take 1 damage. Useful as always, Gus.
Yeah, thanks, Gus.
Yeah, I don't know what we would have done without you.
And obviously the sweepers are based on the magic brooms from the Sorcerer's Apprentice section of Fantasia. And while we're on the subject of Fantasia, the Shadow Blot itself is partially based on Chernobog.
Yeah, I did see the similarities.
Yeah, it is neither Chernobog nor the Shadow Blot, but has elements of both. And while we may not have been able to rescue Gremlin Calvin, but I will try my best to rescue the other gremlins. Now that Mickey's learned his lesson about the sanctity of gremlin life.
I'm sure that Calvin will be fine. It's a cartoon. He'll just, like, be discovered later on, like, half embedded in the ground somewhere.
We will never see Calvin again. I can guarantee you that. He is dead. For the purposes of this game, he is a dead gremlin. He has ceased to be.
He's just gone. He's just erased from history.
Pretty much. I mean, in the world of cartoons, thrown out to who knows where is a very deadly euphemism.
Or it means that you'll be there, like, by the next episode if it's Pokemon.
Or you just get up and buy something else if it's Wile E. Coyote.
If I recall correctly, we do not learn the fate of Gremlin Calvin in Epic Mickey 2, which means that his death is probably canon.
Neat.
The one gremlin that demanded a raise and Disney fired him.
A Union Buster disguised as a sweeper. Got him.
Pardon me. Still recovering from a bit of a flu, so I gave you a few fun things you're going to have to erase.
Well, thankfully I didn't hear that in our Discord call, so that'll be something I'll have to discover later on in post-production.
Fantastic.
Also, one more little detail here is that every enemy has a special costume depending on what area they're in.
How festive.
Just like It's a Small World.
And another gremlin over here. They really load up the gremlins in the start, and then they get less and less common as the game goes on. This is an area teaching us that rescuing gremlins is definitely helpful beyond just having a collectible. There's an area a little further ahead where perhaps the gremlins will lend us a hand if we rescue all of them.
I mean, I kind of figured that they were good for something. Like, they aren't just gonna, like, hang out and let you do all the work.
I mean, they do have the magical power to fix anything in the world just by whacking it with their wrench.
Is that actually a power from the movie?
Well, I mean, I have not read the book. I mean, it is a children's book from the 40s. I'm guessing that was something in the book. The film was never made, unfortunately.
You know, actually, I mean, I know, like, Wreck-It Ralph was made later on, but they do have kind of, like, the same sort of, like, figure and big old nose of, like, Fix-It Felix.
Which is weird, because wasn't Fix-It Felix based on Mario?
I don't know, maybe.
I think it was specifically based on the Donkey Kong design for Mario, the original one.
Still, though, similar powers and definitely, like, sort of a similar design.
Either that or it's a sneaky reference to the engineer from Team Fortress 2, which would not be the only very strange video game reference in this game.
Well, certainly not in this game, but... yeah, I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like Epic Mickey might have been made too early. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that they could have referenced if they had been made, like, after that stuff.
Yeah, this game was a little rushed. I think about a year early. I'll have to double check that. Well, this looks like an annoying jumping puzzle. If only I knew some gremlins who would do all the work for me.
I knows a guy that knows a guy.
Oh, jeez, they're killing these people. Monsters or whatever.
Vengeance is sweet.
This is what passes for PTSD in the cartoon world.
Oh well, it's their karma meters, not ours.
Exactly. Our hands are clean. At least when it comes to these four very specific enemies. Now, I don't actually remember the proper method for getting to that chest up there, which the gremlins opened the path for us. Oh yeah, it's through here. But there is a different method, which is what I used to do in the max percent speedrun, since you can't actually get 100% on a first playthrough. But the latches on that door that just opened, you could jump on those and get up to here without having to go over to the other side.
Oh, the silver pin.
There are uniquely designed pins eventually, but there's only a handful.
Yeah, I mean that was basically just a recolor of the bronze pin.
Yeah, most of them are either gold, silver, or bronze, but there are some unique pin designs that we'll be seeing.
The entry to the Asia boat ride. Oh my god.
Don't worry, it's not that bad.
If I remember correctly, the actual ride has 7 chambers for 7 continents or something like that.
Yeah. There's only 3 there's only 3 in this one, thankfully. But who could be behind that door, I wonder?
Asians?
Helga!
Yeah, it's Big Bad Pete dressed up as one of the creepy Dutch dolls from the It's a Small World ride.
Oh my god, this is the stuff of nightmares.
Well, no, he's not Pete. He's Small Pete. Legally distinctive.
There are, in fact, multiple versions of Pete, including just regular old Big Bad Pete.
So it is nice that we're going to get some of our main ensemble. Like, it's not just going to be references all around.
There are the thing is that most of the characters down here, this is the Wasteland. It is for characters who are forgotten or like scrapped concept art. Basically, it's the equivalent of like a cartoon senior's home, which that means the implication of this game starts out with Mickey Mouse, the hero beloved by all, destroying a senior's home by accident.
Excellent.
Great job, Mickey. Bravo.
Just like Florida.
So, next up, we are going to find the ship log belonging to Small Pete. We're going to visit the village of the Gremlins, and perhaps all of these references to It's a Small World might culminate in something. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see next time.
A little surprise, at least.